From folklore and fairies
to monsters and mysteries, it came from the Maritimes.
Hi everyone, welcome to It Came From The Maritimes, an Atlantic Canada folklore podcast. I'm Chelsea, and this is my co-host Evan.
Howdy.
We have a mini maritime tale for you today. Point Prim is a narrow peninsula on the southeastern shore of Prince Edward Island. It is known for being the site of PEI's oldest lighthouse, which was built in 1845 and offers a view of Hillsborough Bay and the Northumberland Strait. Before the lighthouse was built, way back in the 1700s, Point Prim was a homestead, owned and farmed by an Acadian man. This man was known for the distinctive hump on his back and an oblong scar reaching from his right ear to his nose. These features earned him the cruel nickname, the Hunchback of Point Prim. This man lived in Point Prim with his wife and 3 children, and they lived a happy life. They worked their gorgeous land and enjoyed each other's company there, welcoming friends and visitors. They did until 1758, that is, when the Acadians residing on PEI, known then as Ile Saint-Jean, were forced out of their homes by the British. The Hunchback had heard rumors of his Nova Scotian Acadian cousins being deported, so he started to make preparations for his family's inevitable displacement. He had lived a humble life as a farmer, but in that time he had accumulated a small collection of treasures, consisting of an assortment of family heirlooms and items he had received in trade. He snuck out one night and buried his goods under a pine tree on his property, ensuring his treasure would stay out of British hands. He told his family and friends that he would return to the island as soon as possible to retrieve their valuables. With the expulsion of the Acadians, his family was sadly one of the first to be deported. The man was devastated to leave his home and begged to be allowed to remain on his land for just one more day. He wanted to say his proper farewell. His request was coldly refused, and the British forced him and his family onto a vessel called the Violet. Partway through its journey on November 12, 1758, while in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, the ship was destroyed by an unexpected storm. Sadly, all 400 people on board sank with the ship. Word was received on PEI that there were no survivors from this voyage. So after hearing that tragic news, the townsfolk of Point Prim were genuinely shocked when they heard reports of the Hunchback walking along the shoreline of his previous property. Anyone who dared approach soon realized it was the mere apparition of the man, the spirit of someone who refused to rest when his treasure remained vulnerable to his enemies. Folks still see him roaming through the woods lining the shore, carrying a homemade shovel. Is he still looking for his riches, or is he there trying to protect his land after being removed from it? At Point Prim on a quiet night, listen closely to the noises along the shoreline. Is it just the sound of the waves, or can you make out the metallic clink of someone digging? Even in death, the Hunchback of Point Prim is hard at work, searching for the valuables he was forced to hide when cruelly forced off his land.
Oh wow, that's a really interesting story. I've actually been to Point Prim and I had never heard that before.
Yeah, it's quite an iconic lighthouse, so it's interesting to hear the folklore of the property there.
Yeah, I've actually been there several times. No surprise, I was there bird watching and...
What?
And yeah, there was no mention. It's a really neat area with high cliffs and you can see some interesting stuff out there. But yeah, I'll be on the lookout next time I'm around.
That's it. The next time you go, make sure you listen to see if you hear the sound of someone shoveling.
Will do.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of It Came From The Maritimes. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at It Came From The Maritimes, on X at ICFT Maritimes, and if you have any Atlantic Canada folklore you'd like to see covered, or any spooky stories of your own, please email us at itcamefromthemaritimes@gmail.com. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to leave us a 5-star rating and review. It helps other folklore lovers find us. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye.